Welcome back to Chelsea Chat for another weekend with me, Moose, Welch and JB. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification. So lads, the Premier League is back. It is back. It doesn't feel like it's been very long since it has gone, but for me, I've got my fantasy football team in place.
Yeah.
I have poorly formed a
you've got better
team.
feedbacks. But like I said, it's
only very slightly. But I reckon I'll pull the wild card in about a week or so's time, once I understand how people are playing.
So you can copy everyone's teams.
It's done me well for the last couple of seasons, so let's not knock a good strategy. So we're going to go through today our predictions for top of league, bottom of league, and anywhere in the middle, and then we'll go through a warm-up or a readout before the Brighton game tomorrow, which is going to be interesting. I think it's probably one of the heavily anticipated games, considering how many Chelsea signings have been brought in. We'll obviously won't have everyone on the pitch on day one, but I'm looking forward to it. So we've seen a few games happen now. Jamie, Dan, what surprised you? What hasn't surprised you? Who's sort of turned up, and who do you reckon needs to make more signings from the opening weekend of the Premier League?
Yeah, I've seen Jose Mourinho complaining about his fixture list. I think he was saying that he's got more actual games than he's got training sessions in his diary, which is quite funny. And in some sense, actually, that's made me think it's kind of right, isn't it? It's going to be a congested year. Are we going to see some shocks? And is it the teams with the largest squad in terms of quality of players that are going to pull through in the end?
I don't know. If I look at this sort of opening weekend, what was really interesting was to see how well Bielsa's team came out. I think we had Sheffield United last season, and I think Leeds might fill that gap of really challenging this season. I think he's got a young squad. He's got a squad that's probably going to be pushed to their limit, as they always are.
Do you reckon they've got the legs though? Norwich came out like that last season, and the first couple of games, I don't know how many games they beat City, and then they just fell at the wayside. It's not the same. I'm hoping Leeds have made some great signings.
I hope Leeds fail, but we can only hope. But to be honest, it was great to see Liverpool being chased down at that and it shows what sort of mentality you have to go at sort of the league leaders now. They're everyone wants to be a king killer or king slayer, and Liverpool are going to have such a microscope on them, which is brilliant because they've done so well for the last couple of seasons. I can't wait for them to slip up. It's going to be interesting to see how the other the big teams, or what we think are going to be the top four. So obviously City have got another sort of 10 days until their first game. So we're not really going to see how they sort of line up until then. Everyone's sort of just wondering how they're going to come out of the traps in that space. Liverpool looked all right. I just think they're lacking a signing, to be honest. They're lacking a signing or two, which could only spell something good for us. Arsenal looked quite interesting. The big challenge for me is Arsenal have improved in the areas they needed, apart from maybe a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I think their midfield is what lets Arsenal down. I think you look at their midfield compared to the other top six teams, it's nowhere near the same kind of levels. You look at ours, even our second choice midfield would probably get into the Arsenal team comfortably.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they'll struggle.
What about Spurs just lost to Everton?
Yeah. Mourinho come out and said he can't coach the referees, unfortunately, so he can't be to blame for that result, is what he's come out and said. So you can tell the Premier League's back with Mourinho moaning.
Yeah.
And I think it was interesting because Arsenal looked sort of good in comparison to where they were last season. I think Gabriel, he looked like a really good defender, and that's where Arsenal just struggled for a number of seasons.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Let's just give it a couple of games before we start getting a bit over the top with. Fulham at the end of the day, when you start playing a game like that, and Fulham don't turn up, it gives you confidence. And once Arsenal got confidence, they're always a great team. It's when their confidence is shaken.
I still think that they've brought in the right players. Willian obviously, it wasn't going to get played for us, so great sort of signing for them. I think they're probably like a Thomas Partey signing away from being a really quality side. That defensive midfielder role has been their sort of struggling point for a while now.
So what are you thinking then, Max? What's your top four?
Top four.
Maybe we should go. Let's go from the bottom first. Let's go from the bottom up. I think that's a better way of doing it.
Wasn't prepared for that.
Jamie, I'm going to pass this over to you because I'm not prepared.
Jamie, you're prepared. What's your bottom of the table?
I do. For me, bottom is going to be West Brom. I think they've not really improved from last season in the Championship.
Yeah.
They're that kind of yo-yo club. They're up and down, and I can't see it being any different this year. I don't think they're a very strong side. We saw that today when they lost 3-0 to Leicester.
Yeah.
I can't see them having enough to stay up this year. Yeah.
I'm going to go. I mean, I'm just having a look at the league table at the moment. I'm going to be bold and say West Ham, Fulham, and West Brom, who are currently in the relegation zone after one game, I feel are going to be probably mainstays in that space. West Ham have had the problems and the off-field challenges that they're selling youngsters. They've just not improved the squad properly. We've got sort of a bloated squad that they're never going to improve. West Brom, to your point, Jamie, I just don't think I'm going to really struggle. And then Fulham,
same thing really for Fulham, isn't it?
Defensively, not there, and they look like a Championship club out of place in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit different. Part of me is thinking, I agree, Jamie, West Brom. I think bottom of the table, rock bottom. I'm gonna go Brighton to drop out. Maybe just not have the legs this season to get through. And then I'm going to go West Ham. It kills me to not say Fulham. I just think I can't see past them realistically. But I don't know. I just feel this season's going to be a little bit different from what we've seen in previous seasons. We're not back to normal. There's going to be disruptions due to COVID. This is not a major shock in relegation. But I feel like I may as well make a bit of a suggestion to say, this is what's going down. And in some sense, no offence to West Ham, I think it might do good to go down.
My other two is Fulham and Brighton. And I have West Ham just staying up by the skin of their teeth.
Interestingly, I know we want to go kind of all the way through up, but none of us have placed Aston Villa there.
Again, I think they're going to be very close. I think it'll be a battle. Brighton, Villa and West Ham are going to be fighting for that last spot. I think Fulham and West Brom are going to be pretty nailed on most of the season. They're going to be kind of the teams that are getting whooped about a bit by the bigger teams, and everyone's going to take some easy points off of them. But I think it'll be West Ham, Villa, and Brighton be fighting for that last spot to try and avoid going down.
Yeah, and I'm going to go for a unique one for this. So, biggest upset. Who do you reckon is going to sort of be your team that you weren't expecting to do well but do amazingly well?
It's a tough one because I feel Leeds are going to do well, but I think Everton are going to surprise a lot of people. I think I know they're still a good team, and they've brought in some good players, so people are probably expecting them to do better. But I think they could be challenging for a top 4 spot. Seeing how that team lined up today as well, that kind of has made me think even more that they're going to do well. I mean, Rodriguez had a great game. Alan had a great game. Calvert-Lewin now, he's got some great players behind him. I think he's going to score a lot of goals this season. And that team, and that's not even mentioned Richarlison. He's, what a fantastic player he's been for Everton over the last few years. And with all that other, firepower around him, it's going to be a pretty decent force.
I think they've massively improved.
Do you know who I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Newcastle. The players that they've brought in, I think, are perfect fit for their squad. Callum Wilson, Jeff Hendrick, you've got Ryan Fraser. But they're buying in players who, they're not buying outside of their sort of remit. I think where they've had Almiri and those sorts of players, they just weren't a good fit for Newcastle, and they have now bought into a club. I reckon they could really challenge. I don't see them going anywhere near the top 4, but I reckon they could definitely go for a Europa place with those sorts of signings.
I like the call, Max, and I like the logic behind it. I don't think it's going to quite get them to challenge for a Europa League spot.
You didn't shit on Jamie's view.
But I think you make a good point. I think lower middle table, I think they'll be a comfortable play there. And I think, to your point, I think that they'll do well against a couple of strong teams and kind of upset, that top 6, 7 to 8 there. As long as Callum Wilson stays fit, he's just, as you can see, he's just going to slot into that team. He's not going to need any kind of run up. He'd be fine with lots of games again as long as he stays fit. So I think you make a really good point there. To what Jamie was saying, I think, although not quite a surprise, I think definitely Everton, they look a bit more settled now. Ancelotti's there. They made some amazing signings. Let's see how Rodriguez does with the fixture list. But I think they'll do really solidly. And then just trying to look, it's difficult. I'll make a swap judgment to say I don't think Sheffield United are going to do as well this season.
I was just about to ask that. Which team do we think are going to degress this season? So do worse than they did last season by maybe like a bigger margin.
Yeah.
I mean, you got on the list. I mean, for me, I've got Liverpool, Leicester, Wolves, and Sheffield United are probably the ones where not all of them are going to drop down a lot, but I think you probably have a couple of them not doing as well. I think Sheffield United might not be as strong as they was last season. I think last season, if any other season, we wouldn't have finished in the top 4 with the points that we got.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teams kind of benefited from that as well. A lot of teams had poor seasons, but because everyone else around them did, the league table looked a bit more beneficial for them. So I think, Sheffield United were a big benefit of that, not taking away, the fantastic season they had, but I think, this year it might be a bit different for them.
That being said, though, Jamie, I totally agree with you. I'm going back to my same point. I just think it's not going to be a high point scoring season. With this being so different to what we've seen previously, I just think it's going to play an impact. And I feel like...
I think points will be shared out a bit more, though.
Yeah.
Last year, obviously, Liverpool got so many points, City got so many points. That's obviously taking it away from the other teams. But I don't think you're going to have a team win the league by 99, 97 points, whatever this year. I think the points are going to be a bit more distributed around the league. Yeah. I don't think we'll see as many draws either. So I think the overall, the requirement to get to certain positions is going to be a little bit higher, except for the title winner.
I also think it's going to be a slower start to the season. If you think around for the clubs that have made signings, they've not had so much time to integrate those signings into the squads. So what was it, sort of 3-4 weeks since since the Champions League officially finished? I know that a lot of clubs weren't in that, but if you've made signings...
Fitness as well, which is what I'm talking about. So recently finished.
Yeah, I mean, talk for yourself, Dan. I'm in the peak of my career. But I think sort of from my perspective, you've got a lot of players we've got the transfer window open till October now. Yeah. So I think you've got clubs that might invest once they see how bad their form is to start with. I think City, I don't think are over with I think Koulibaly could quite easily come in right at sort of the end, depending on how well they start defensively, because as much as I like Ake, I don't think he is going to revolutionise their defence. He's a good sort of functional defender, but he's not a Van Dijk defender that just sort of revolutionises their fortunes. United aren't finished. You've got them sort of still looking after Sancho. I think they'll probably get him, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know what impact he'll make, but they'll spend a lot of money still. So yeah, and equally, I think Liverpool probably need to dip their toe in because they haven't invested anything in the squad bar that unknown defender that I couldn't tell you whose name he is.
Okay, look, give me your top 4 then, Max.
Top 4. Oh, you put me on the spot, Dan.
And you have to go first. You can't copy everyone else.
So I'm going to go City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United.
So for me, I think it's going to be... I do think City will win the league. I think Liverpool will still hold on to second. I think Chelsea third. And I think it's going to be a very tight battle between United and Arsenal for fourth. But I think United might just pip it, especially if they bring in Sancho.
I feel a little bit brave here. I don't want to say City, so let me just mix, because I'm going to go back with my point. Things are going to get a bit interesting. I don't see Liverpool winning it. So as much as I was shocked, I'm going to go Chelsea.
The non-Chelsea fans gone bold.
I'm going to go Liverpool. I'm going to go City, and I'm going to go United.
So we've all got the same 4 teams.
Ultimately, yeah,
we're not in agreement on that.
Yeah, and just because I know, Max, you love the Europa League, I'm going to say, I think, unfortunately for Arsenal, I think they'll just get, well, it's good news, but I think they'll get Europa League, and then I'm going to go Everton, and then I'm going to go Tottenham. I'm going to just reel off a couple of things here, Jamie. I'm going to go FA Cup. I'm going to go with Spurs. I think Jose Mourinho will get his trophy. I know, but I think he'll get his trophy. I know.
Tottenham do not win trophies. They don't even have a trophy cabinet, mate. They don't even have one.
Jamie, it was either lose my street cred by going the same way as Max, or just completely lose it by making out their judgments. And we can have a bit.
And you did both.
Either way, So I'm going to go Spurs.
I'm a little bit more worried the fact that you predicted us to win the league now.
Yeah. So yeah.
If that's your thinking, Jesus.
So Spurs will get his trophy, and then I'll go with Barcelona. I know it's not an English league team.
What? With their rebuild, Dan?
I know.
Literally, like, needing to sort of tear out from the bottom. Yeah, win it. Still. Ronald Koeman. I don't care who I've got in my team. Messi's being forced out there with cattle prods
thrown off a podcast,
and still wins the...
I'm getting thrown off a podcast, but it's fine. It was worth it. Go on, Jamie.
Go on, back. Who are you going for?
FA Cup. I'm going to go Everton. I feel Ancelotti will want a trophy. He's done well with it before.
Want a trophy so he gets one, yeah. I think everyone wants a trophy, mate. Doesn't mean they get one.
No. I think sort of if you look at them, they're not going to challenge for the title this season.
No.
So why wouldn't you go and put a trophy in Everton's trophy cabinet? Fans will love it. Ancelotti's done it well with us before. And with the squad they've got, I think Everton. I'm just going to go bold with that one.
Champions League?
Definitely not Barcelona. I think. I'm going to go bold. I'm going to give City their first.
See, I was tempted to do this. I was tempted, but I just.
Is he copying you again?
He was tempted to do it after I said it. That's all I'm saying. I'll leave it there.
By going bold, Max, are
you? Well, I think going bold because I think City have. If they, I'm going to go reliant on my intuition here that they're going to buy big before the end of the transfer window. If they bring in someone like Koulibaly, they're going to be on a very dangerous force. They've lost David Silva, but I think they have still gained Phil Foden, which I don't think is a poor deputy. I think they're going to bring him in, and that'll be a bit of a masterclass in that space anyway.
All right, Jamie, what about you, mate?
FA Cup, I'm going to go for, I think, Liverpool. I still think, they've got a strong side. I don't think they're going to win the league this year, but I think they'll still get a trophy. I think FA Cup's one that, Klopp hasn't won. So it might just be one of those that, he's after for his collection now. So I think Liverpool for that one. Champions League. Do you know, I fancy either PSG or Atletico this year. I think one of those, they've been going for so many years trying to win that competition. And
you see that apparently
they've not been able to do it.
Mbappe wants to leave at the end of his end of next season now.
Yeah.
It's just really good.
I fancy Atletico, I'm going to say Atletico. I think, they've got so close so many times, and every time they've lost to Real in the final.
Yeah.
I just got a feeling that it could be their year. Everyone's playing at very attacking football, but they're the ones that have kept that defensive base.
So, looking forward to tomorrow night's game, Brighton versus Chelsea.
I am buzzing for this game, honestly.
I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching this. What are your thoughts? So, obviously it's away. Doesn't really mean much at the moment because empty grounds whilst there. Let's start with your proposed lineup, Jamie. So if we start with the goalkeeper.
I think it'll be Kepa. I think we've kept him, and he's not going to carry on playing Caballero over Kepa. I think the goalkeeper's obviously not Mendy. He's not coming in time, and it looks like that'll be done early next week though. I think it's all been agreed now, so it's just a case of medicals and all that kind of stuff. So I think Kepa's going to start this game, and this is his big opportunity to say I'm going to be your number one this season, and he needs to put in a good performance. So I think Kepa will start tomorrow.
And I'd agree with you. I don't think there's going to be any people who disagree with that. I think Lampard will probably start him just to sort of prove a point. He's going to put a little bit of faith in him and then test that out with a team like Brighton. What are you thinking for formation?
4-3-3.
3-3. I'd happen to agree with you there. I don't think we're going to start with a defensive start to this season. So let's go with the back four. Dan, right, what are you thinking right back?
Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go Reece James.
I agree, Reece James.
Centre backs. I'm going to go with Zuma and Rudiger. I think we'll just start with those two whilst Thiago Silva's not ready. Dan, your two centre backs.
I'm going to go the same. I'd like to see Rudiger and Thiago Silva playing consistently together this season in centre back. I'm hoping that Thiago Silva can bring out as much as best possible from Rudiger, and they can build a good partnership this season. Yeah, I think maybe that he'll play Rudiger, get him a bit confident, then bring Silva in, and I'm hoping that forms a great, strong centre-back partnership.
Jamie?
Yeah, I think Zuma and Rudiger. I think actually Zuma's going to be Silva's partner for this year. My own inkling, I think Zuma was probably our best defender last year, which, I mean, nothing to be proud of considering how poor they were, but I think he's earned his place really to be first choice along with Thiago Silva, who will definitely come in probably for the Liverpool game. But no, I think this week, obviously with Silva being out, not being ready, I think Rudiger will take that spot.
I'm going to go left back. I want to go Dave because I know that Chilwell's not ready. I don't think he's going to trust Alonso because I think he's going to play a bit part of the season. And I feel
not in the back four. He won't play Alonso in the back four, I don't think.
And I think you've got to fit Dave into that squad somewhere because he's a player you can't, being club captain as well, obviously doesn't guarantee you a place in the starting lineup, but he's probably one of our best defenders anyway. So I'd like to see him play somewhere, and I think left back at the moment until Chilwell is fully fit will be where he plays him.
Because I said Dave, I'm just going to go Alonso at back.
Dan, you're
completely disregarding everything you just said. I'm just going to go.
Dan's face it. You're wrong. So midfield three. Just let's go with all three in one.
I'll go Kante, Mount, and Havertz.
I'm going to go with Kante, Kovacic, and Mount, and I feel they bring Kai Havertz on as a sub.
I'll do same with Jamie. Havertz, Mount, Kante. Just saying it a different way, either out the other.
I just said it with different names in different positions.
Oh my god!
And then front three, I'm going to go for Timo Werner. I'm going to go for Pulisic, and I'm going to go for Hudson-Odoi. Jamie?
It's a tough one because Ziyech being out. Part of me thinks it will be Hudson-Odoi, but another part of me thinks maybe he'll push Werner wide left and bring in Giroud or Abraham. No, so yeah, I want it to be Pulisic, Werner, and Hudson-Odoi. So that's what I'm going to go for.
And Dan?
Werner down the left, Hudson-Odoi down the right, and then Giroud in the middle.
Is that only because you've got Giroud in your fantasy team? So you're just desperate to...
Actually nothing to do with it, mate.
Man is praying.
So At this point, I'm going to mention what us as the Chelsea Chat team are going to be doing throughout the season. On the Chelsea Fifth Stand app, there is a play predictor. So I'm going to go through some of the bits I've put in here. I know Jamie's done the same, and I think Dan has as well. Benefits are you can win a signed Chelsea shirt every week. But I've gone with 3-1 Chelsea. So that's where I've gone. I've gone first goal scorer to be Christian Pulisic. I've gone the minute of the first goal to be the 16th minute. How many shots will Chelsea have overall? I've gone with 8. And how many Chelsea shots within target? I've gone 5. And I reckon we'll get 69% possession. And then I've gone, there'll be 3 corners for Chelsea. So I've gone quite, I tried to be different to try and win a shirt. I mean, hopefully next week you'll see an actual background behind me with a signed Chelsea shirt. Oh, that's all I'm saying. Jamie, let's go with your score predictor.
So I went 3-0 to Chelsea. I've gone Werner to score first in the 7th minute. 13 shots, I said we're going to have, with 8 on target. 67% possession. And 7 corners for Chelsea.
Decent. Dan, I know you haven't done this.
Specific.
So...
Now I'll give my score prediction. Maybe not how many corners and yellow cards sneezes that Timo Werner does, but we'll see what we go with. I'm looking at the teams that kind of play pretty average teams that we thought were going to be down the bottom this season. So I'm going to go 3-0 again, similar to Jamie. I'm going to go 23rd minute first goal, and I'm going to go nothing to do with fantasy football. I'm going to go Giroud scores the first goal, 3-0. I still think it's going to be 3-0. I don't see Brighton put anything past Chelsea, but
of course, the only reason I've put this in is I just don't think we've plugged some of the holes until.
No, you just want to sign the shirt, mate. That's all. Really.
Yeah, of course, there's a vested interest here that we let one goal in because then I get more points than Jamie in the leaderboard. That's all I'm going to put out there. But I think we've all sort of talked around Brighton going to struggle this season. They've brought in Adam Lallana. I think that's a solid signing for them, especially on a free. But he's had his issues with injury. Hasn't had that many minutes for Liverpool.
Is he going to be fed as well? Is he going to get what he needs? I mean, not food-wise, but...
Brighton are actually starving their players now, according to Dan. You heard it here first.
They're going to have to emergency sign Declan Rice.
That's it. Clickbait. It's good.
Dan's uncovered an exclusive expose of Brighton Football Club.
They're not being fed to their emergency. Get some rice in.
Is there any other footballer with a relevant name as well? Come on.
Yeah, we're selling them Danny Drinkwater.
So thirsty, mate. It's going to be the most bland meal they've ever had. Rice and water.
You're on a relegation budget, man. Come on.
But I think we've gone through here that Brighton are not going to have a great season. I can't see with the players they've got them turning stuff around.
They've been scraping it. I just think now's the time to go down. That's just all I think. I also think
that they've got rid of. So they've let Murray go on loan to Watford, and I know that Murray's not sort of the spring chicken he was, but he still gets goals for them.
That's why they already have rice and water. They got rid of the chicken.
And then Moy they've let go as well because I thought he's not set the world on fire, but he's done a job for them for a number of seasons now. So I think they're going to struggle. I think it's going to be a bit of a demolition, to be honest. I think we played them pre-season, 1-1 draw. Werner getting his first goal for Chelsea. I think we're just going to have. It's a little bit going to be like an exhibition game, where I don't think we're going to dominate it from end to end, but I think we're just going to have a lot of the possession. I think we're going to have most of the traffic on their goal. And then I think we're just going to have to make sure we don't get caught on the counter-attack, is the honest. interesting game coming up. We'll keep you in the loop via our social media and our social media whiz, JB. We'll obviously keep you guys up to date with probably a match overview next week of the Brighton game, and then obviously looking forward, we'll probably do a review of the Liverpool game this time next week. So hopefully we should have, ideally, 6 points under the belt to sort of give you your next podcast. As always, feel free to like, subscribe, comment below, and you stay classy, Chelsea fans.